What's going on? My name is Tyson McGuffin. Welcome to the McGuffin Show. We're on episode 30 here, doing something a little different today. Got a good buddy of mine as a guest. He played 2018 Nationals with my lovely wife. I had the pleasure of giving him a couple lessons. He's married to Suzanne and has a son named Hank, who's 8 years old. He's on the World Golf Coach Hall of Fame. He coached Tiger Woods for 6 years. He owns his own golf pod on iHeartRadio. He owns 4 golf schools, and he's a pretty cool dude. Hank Haney, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Tyson. Hey, thanks for having me on. This is a thrill for me. I'm such a pickleball nut. I'm on with the man, so this is nice.
Happy to have you, man. Happy to have you. Where are you?
I am in Paradise Valley, Arizona. My wife and I just remodeled a house, and we just moved in. I built a new indoor golf studio, so I'm back coaching again. I've got my backyard has a golf area with putting green and sand traps, and I got a sweet pickleball court, bud.
Yeah.
It is nice.
That's
It
cool.
is nice. So I'm like, this one's lighted. My other house didn't have lights. I got the cushion surface and a little fence around it, and it is awesome.
That's cool. You have a permanent net, I would assume, yes?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Is it a C&D net, Cammie and Darren? If you know what C&D?
I think yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. It's a very well-made net, nice and sturdy. Is yours on wheels?
Mine is it. No, mine. I actually have posts. My posts that can come out of the ground. So.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of like if I wanted to, I could do something, like throw a party on the court, which was the whole idea.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's pretty much pickleball all the time, though. I'm into pickleball. I didn't play this morning, but I had a big game yesterday, and I'm going to be playing this week. So I love it. I'm so into pickleball and golf. Those are my 2 deals.
How many days a week are you on the court?
I'm probably playing like 3 or 4 days a week. I cut back a little bit. It was wearing me out too much. I'm 66, bud. But you know what? I honestly can't get enough of pickleball.
Oh, yeah.
I think pickleball is the greatest game. Golf, but golf and pickleball. And I think pickleball is just booming. I tell people, I said it's going to be bigger than golf in 5 years. It's just, it's kind of everything golf isn't. It's got a shallow learning curve. Okay. At least to be decent, and the thing is, like, when people play pickleball the first time, they think they're decent. Okay. They might stink, but they think they're decent. Okay. Like in golf, everybody knows they suck. Okay.
Right.
So it's just such a hard game. And that's one thing. And then, it's an inexpensive sport. It's accessible, and I think the learning curve part is so good,
Right,
it just really is. So I just think it's got such a huge future. I really do.
Yeah. I've been coaching pickle for the last couple of years now, and the learning curve that I have seen in pickle compared to tennis, obviously never coached golf, but it seems like tennis and golf are both very technical and very high skilled and tough to learn. It is so satisfying as a pickleball coach to see people's games. I teach these 2-day, 12-hour boot camps. People can sign up for day 1 or day 2, or they can sign up for both days. But, I could see a 3-0 go to a 3-5 in a matter of 12 hours. Like that, literally, for a 3-0 to get to a 3-5 in tennis, that would take at least 10 months. Like it takes time, And, in tennis, you're playing on a court that's 72 by 36. You're playing with a rubber ball that's bouncing over your head. The court's big. Racket technology and string technology allows for a lot more RPMs and a lot more spin. And anyhow, it's just it's very satisfying teaching pickleball and seeing the smiley faces and just seeing people's games go full circle in a much shorter period of time.
It's so much fun that way, and it's fun being a coach because you get to help people. It's just such a rewarding profession, and I know because I'm at both sides. I coach golf, but then I play pickleball, and just for me, like as a beginning pickleball player, one of my biggest thrills was just getting a lesson from you and getting, I got the man helping me here. And it's, I think it's just a great sport. It really is.
Yeah. Let's talk about that first lesson. So you should know that I was scared shitless to give Mr. Haney a lesson. I was freaking shaking in my boots, man. And I'm pretty sure our first lesson was at Gazer, and I think Jimmy Stevens was watching, right? And anyhow, you essentially led the lesson. I didn't say much. I was very nervous. But the second time around, I figured that you would respect me much better if I gave it to you a little bit and pushed you a little harder and kind of treated it like a college wrestling practice. Anyhow, it seemed like we got along, and the communication and just the general direction of the lesson went better when I was just a bit more sturdy. But anyhow,
I like being coached. I like being coached.
Yeah. And I'm the same sense. Like, if I'm working with somebody, I mean, Morgan Evans, you obviously know Morgan. Morgan was my singles coach for 2 years. And I kind of needed Morgan to push back a little bit because I am known to run people over with my ADHD brain and just how fast I run. And I'm probably a better talker than I am listener. And so Morgan made the adjustment of just being a little tougher with me. And that definitely helped our relationship, But it's funny how that works.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so
that's coaching. You have to adapt for sure.
Got to adapt. How's the fam, Hank?
All good. Suzanne's playing tennis. She's playing a little pickleball. She's into tennis, but her pickleball game is pretty good. And then my son Henry's 8, and he's
guy's all over. I see Suzanne at like the hockey rink. She's taking him to karate.
Yeah, Henry. Mostly he likes pickleball. He's actually pretty darn good at pickleball, and he's really good at hockey. So he's into hockey, and that's so I'm pretty much hockey dad.
Hockey dad.
I'm a 66-year-old with an 8-year-old. And which is
legendary.
that's pretty good right there. My friend Curtis Strange, who was a 2-time U.S. Open golf champion, and he said to me one day, he said, "Hank, I heard you had a kid," and I said, "Yeah, I did." He said, "Have you done the math on that?" And I said, "Yeah, I've done the math on that. It's not great, but I'll tell you what, it's phenomenal." Just having children, and I have so much time now.
Yeah, for sure.
Pickleball, golf, and just watch my son play hockey and grow up. So it's pretty cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I had the pleasure of coaching you and my wife at 2018 Nationals. You guys ended up taking silver, battled all day. Battled in that bronze medal match and ended up pulling that thing out. I was in your corner all day. Don't know if I helped or not, but I was trying to.
You definitely helped.
I was trying to settle my wife down and get her just to not pop her stinking drop up. Just keep the ball down, sweetie. Simple as that, okay? Less is more.
Easier said than done, for sure.
But
you make it look easy, but the rest of us have a little harder time.
Yeah, but no, so you were what, 63 at that time, 62, something like that? But you did a very good job of pinching middle, acting like a big bully in the middle, taking lots of court. I thought you played very well. But anyhow, something that is very funny that happened. I don't know if it's funny, but my poor wife ended up, she played great all day. And I don't know, a couple matches in, she ended up losing her serve. She got the yips on her serve. And she could make, 10 dinks in a row. She could play good defense. She could make her drops, but she just couldn't put a stinking serve in. So I don't know if you remember that, but that's definitely what happened.
Happens.
Yeah.
It happens in golf a lot, when they get the yips on the putts, and I see it in pickleball a lot too. It's is
it mental? Is it technique oriented? I mean,
it's neither. It's a neurological issue.
Right.
Okay. So like mental would tell you that it's like a positive kind of thinking deal, but you see it in all sports. You see it in tennis. You see it in baseball when a second baseman can't throw it to first. Pitcher can't throw it to home plate. You see it in football. You don't see it long because their careers are usually over.
Right.
But you have to find a different pathway to do things, and that's why, like in in pickleball, the people that I see that are, successful, they either start serving left-handed or they serve backhanded,
right,
or they serve with their, palm facing the other way. And then they usually fix it. I mean, you might not have the greatest serve, but I've got a friend of mine who was a yipper, and he hadn't missed a serve in 2 years. Now they're not serving like you, but
right.
I mean, nobody serves like you do.
Go for broke, man. Well, I don't have the biggest serve on tour now. Have you seen Deckel Bar serve? I mean, it's just a thumper. I mean, it looks a little high. I don't know about you, Hank, but it looks like it could be over his hip, but the guy hits the shit out of it. And he's, I'm only 5'10", $165. He's a big boy. He's 6'3", 6'4". But what do you think about this?
High hips.
Yeah, he's got very high hips. And actually, I don't know if you've seen me serve lately, but something differently that I've done is I used to serve close stance, right? Close stance, load off the back foot, coil the hips and then uncoil and get all my energy going at the ball. Anyhow, I felt like I wasn't able to use my hips enough because my stance was so closed and my back foot was planted, right? So now I'm opening up my stance as I serve. I'm not stepping inside the court. It's still a platform serve. So I'm open hips and I'm able to just get some better hip rotation, bring my right hip around, get some better shape and some better height. I kind of felt like with my close serve, it was a bit too linear, didn't have enough shape or enough height. But something I've been doing differently is taking a little pace off of the serve with going open stance and just going high and heavy and really forcing the returner to have to like take a half volley. And then generally with that gives me a short ball. I can drive and Crash City off of that, brother. But I've just
I was wondering about that, like high, you put so much topspin on it, but high and deep. I mean, that ball jumps so far back when you do that.
For sure. It's tough to time on the returning side, forces the returner to hit some balls from uncomfortable areas, which is up a little higher. Most time the ball doesn't bounce that high, so you have this uncomfortable contact point. And it's just a different look. It makes them second guess or makes them be indecisive that they should, take it as a half volley or take a step back and give themselves time. But yeah, something I've been doing differently is just not going big, but trying to go shape and margin and like high heavy versus the bullet, But tell me, what do you think about this stupid spin serve?
I thought they're making it illegal.
Yeah, get rid of it. Literally, that spin serve bent me over all year. I kid you not. Royally. Yeah. I would like to know my return percentage with a spin serve versus a non-spin serve because honestly, I lost to Zane various times this year, and granted, Zane obviously has more than the serve, right? But one area where I was really struggling is, and it happened in at least 2 or 3 matches where I missed 12 to 14 returns in one singles match. 12 to 14. And I'm whiffing returns, or I'm having the ball like kick a different direction and like hit me in the chest. Literally the most embarrassing moment I've had on championship court is like trying to rush on that spin serve and whiffing a return. What is your opinion though?
I think everything that kind of makes the game unique is pretty cool.
Okay.
And there's not much you can do. The paddle rules and everything like that are so restrictive. But I think that like your serve is awesome, and it's much better than most everybody. So I kind of look at the people who can serve different as like, wow, that's a big asset. Like that serve that Annalie Waters does, where she hits it real high and she spins it too, and she hits it high, and that thing lands back, and that first bounce is like so high and so far back.
Right.
And that seems like it's really effective, but it's not as easy to do as it looks, for sure.
I think why I personally think it needs to go away, and obviously with the PPA Tour it is it just doesn't have a true bounce. Take a look at tennis, like John Isner, top 20 U.S. tennis player, 6'10", big dude. Like when he hits a kick serve, it's the same topspin kick serve, right? When he hits a slice serve, you know where it's going to kick. Now, people can say, with the spin serve, you can see how they spin, and it shows you, what direction the ball is going to go. But I guess personally why I don't like it is because it's just not a true bounce. it's just kicking everywhere, and it's got a mind of its own. You know what I mean?
But it's going away, right?
Yeah, correct. So PPA Tour, it's going away. APP and everything else, it's still being used. So, okay, Hank. So I'm gonna ask you here. Tell me what's your favorite shot? What's your favorite shot on the pickleball court?
Well, that would be my good shot. So my favorite shot is my third shot drop for sure. I mean, I feel like that's like at my level of play, which is not like, I'm a 4-0 player. Okay. I mean, I feel like, my return to serve, my serve's not great, but I always get it in. My return to serve is getting better, but I almost always get that in. Like at nationals, I mean, I think in 16 games, I hit 2 balls out on a return to serve. So at my level of play, I feel like if my third shot drop percentage is higher than my opponent's, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to win. That's kind of how I feel. And I just go back to the fundamentals that, you taught me. And, I try to just practice that as much as I can, because like my fear when I go play in a pickleball match is like if I don't have my touch and I don't have that third shot drop, I feel like, wow, it's hard to play. You guys make it look so easy, and you rarely ever miss one, and your balls are unattackable and everything else. But I mean, for the average player, it's a tough shot.
Yeah. So kind of what you just told me is that, once you get your third ball drop dialed, then it sets a tone to your whole game, right? You feel comfortable, the monkey's off your back, you can play free. I kind of feel that same way when I'm banging the serve and I'm able to drive the forehand and it's linear and it's getting down. When I can get enough on the serve and I can drive the third to enhance my next ball, then I feel like the monkey's off my back. I can play free, I can breathe and kind of, play within myself. Hank, I'm going to read a quote here, and it's from you. My philosophy as a teacher is to teach my students to become their own best teacher by getting them to understand the flight of the golf ball and how it relates to the swing, with emphasis on swinging the golf club on their own correct swing plane. Hank, what do you mean by that?
All right, so what I mean by that is that, as a coach, I mean, it's one thing for you to tell somebody what to do, and you hope they remember it, but it's another thing for them to really own it. And in order to own it, I mean, you have to be able to help yourself. So in golf, it's analyzing your ball flight, analyzing what your big miss is, what your bad shot is, and then do you have the tools to fix it? So, a lot of times what happens in coaching is a coach says something and he thinks that, communication has taken place. But you have to understand, people only hear like 10% of what you say. So you have to repeat things a lot, and you have to try to make sure that the student can help themselves, because you're only going to improve so much during a lesson. You have to improve on your own. And in order to do that, you have to practice, but you also have to know exactly what you're doing. And that's how I approach a golf lesson. I mean, it's really how I approach learning anything. Right. It's like, when I'm trying to get better at pickleball, I analyze my game and I think, okay, what is my biggest weakness that's costing me? And then let me just fix that, and then I'm instantly a better player. And then it's on to the next weakness and on to the next weakness. I mean, it's the same thing, you did when you analyzed my game when I first had lessons, right, with you. You got to be able to drop the ball in the kitchen. You worked on my serve, getting it deeper. My return to serve, you told me I got to be able to dink the ball, because if you're going to be better, you're going to play at a higher level, you got to be able to dink. I mean, it's just the same thing right. in golf, same thing in pickleball, but you have to have the tools to help yourself.
That's true. Talk about the learning curve between golf and pickleball, because it's obviously very different.
Very different. I mean, because, that's one thing I think pickleball just has over golf, because the learning curve is shallow. Now, it's not it's not shallow to get to a point where you're a great player like a pro, or one of the greatest players in the game like you are. That's a different story. But just to be decent at pickleball, it can happen relatively fast. And most people, when they play pickleball, I mean, they play the first time and they think they're decent. I mean, they're a hero. They hit some good shots.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the reality of it is they may stink. But in golf, In golf, everybody knows they stink.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's just so hard.
Tennis is the
And
same
I
way.
think that's why pickleball, I honestly feel like, you know, golf is always going to be there. It's one of the true lifetime sports. It's a phenomenal game. But I think pickleball is going to be the biggest sport. I think pickleball will pass golf because of just a few factors. One, it's a relatively inexpensive sport. Golf isn't. It's the learning curve is very shallow in pickleball. You can become decent quick. And, you know, pickleball is very accessible. I mean, there's all kinds of unused tennis courts that you could paint and have, you know, 16 people playing pickleball on it tomorrow. And by the way, no matter how many pickleball courts you build, it won't be enough.
Not enough. That's true. It's so true.
Yeah.
That's
for sure. So I think pickleball just has such a bright future. But I love that golf and pickleball are you know, similar in my mind in this way. You hit hard like you do. I mean, you know, you hit the ball incredibly hard. So there's power in the game, but then there's finesse. And that's the same thing with golf. I mean, you got to be able to hit that hard shot and then reset with a real soft shot. And that's just you know, that's where the similarity to golf is the same to me, because, you know, golf you hit for power, but then you got to hit a touch shot right after that.
Right. Yeah, you know, I you know, taught tennis for 10, 15 years and worked as a head pro and worked as a director. And the learning curve for tennis, as with golf, obviously, it's very difficult. It takes time. I'm not going to say you're stealing your clients' money, but they're taking a couple lessons a week. You know, I mean, it's tough. The learning curve that I see from pickle and tennis, I mean, it's apples and oranges, night and day. I mean, I teach these 2-day boot camps. We do 6 hours each day. Feel like we're family after 2 days, but. You know, I've seen plenty of my campers go from a 3.5 to a 3.75 or a 3.5 to a 4.0. Maybe it takes a couple months to go from a 3.5 to a 4.0. Some campers, it takes 12 hours, right? And you can really see their games go full circle in a short period of time. So super satisfying as a pickleball coach with teaching tennis, you know, 10, 15 years and being certified. And obviously love teaching tennis and love the progressions of technique and breaking things down and looking through it kind of through that lens. But on the pickleball side, yeah, it's funny. There's more drilling. There's a lot more tactics from the kitchen. Obviously, yes, it's technical, but there's just so many balls being hit, you know. And I think what really sells pickleball and why there's so many tennis and golf players coming over is that you have this unrealistic point where, you know, you're on offense and then you're on defense and you bring it back to neutral and it's bang 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 and then back soft, and you have these drawn out points that are super fun, and the transition from defense to offense takes place so quick. For that to happen in tennis, it doesn't happen. You know, like when you're on offense in tennis, you generally stay on offense.
Right.
And so yeah, it's just I think the transition from defense to offense is super enjoyable and it's fun and it's different, right? But yeah, I mean, the relationships and the people that I've met in the last 4 or 5 years, you know, through Pickle. Pickle community is great people. Obviously, there's a wide range of characters that play pickleball. There's people that, you know, live in their cars, show up to tournaments, and don't have a dollar in their wallet. And there's billionaires and millionaires who you wouldn't even know that are at the local park. You know, so it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely a cool atmosphere for sure. And you know, it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing. And you're doing a good job helping it grow with all the stuff you're doing.
Well, hey, thank you. So I got to tell this story, and then I would like for you to tell me a couple cool stories. But one story in particular. So this is back in 2017. I was out at Gaza hanging out with you and the family, and at that time, I think I had just gotten off your boat, and we were talking about Instagram and social media and stuff like that. And at that time, I did not have an Instagram page, and you were heckling me and giving me a hard time because I wasn't doing crap on social media and I was trying to make it. And pickleball back in 2017 was tiny. Nobody knew about pickleball, right? And you're like, dude, what are you doing? And I, you know, took your advice. Truly respect your advice, and you know, here I am. I'm verified now and got 45,000 followers, and have a content creator, have an editor here in Coeur d'Alene, and got the YouTube channel rocking a couple days a week. We post on TikTok, post on all my platforms, and I'm probably the most active social media guy that is out there. So Thank you for that, Hank.
No,
Getting me going, man.
I'm happy to pass on the advice. I mean, I got a few years on you, so I've learned a lot of things along the way. And definitely content is the way to go. I mean, you do that. Selkirk's doing a good job with that.
Selkirk TV is huge, for sure.
It just makes a big difference. And people are starved for content. People love pickleball. I mean, it's like amazing how I've never seen anything like how
YouTube junkies.
Pickleball is.
No,
it's crazy.
Totally. I mean, I can't tell you how many people so I used to be known as like the athlete and like the dad at tournaments. Now I'm known as like the YouTube guy. I kid you not. So many people and I mean, obviously they know me as a dad, they know me as an athlete, but now they come to me and they say, hey, love your content on your YouTube page, love the podcast, love the instructional videos. And then usually with that, that's a huge compliment to get people to sign up for a camp. So there's been so many campers that were like, you know what, your price point's a little high, Tyson, but we went to your YouTube channel and we saw, high production with the content, saw your podcast and all the instructional videos, and that won us over and that enticed us to take a camp. So I'm glad I went that route of going free. And no, it's true. Content is king. Content is king.
For sure. And your price isn't high because your instruction is great. So as long as your instruction is great,
right.
It's something you can't get from other places. And that's the thing, like my golf lessons are really high. I just started coaching again. I have an indoor studio at my house and people say, what do you charge? I said, a lot.
Yeah, right.
But you can take as many lessons as you want from Joe, the assistant pro. He's a mythical person, but it's not going to be the same as taking one lesson from somebody that can really coach. And I think the one thing that is different about you as a coach from a lot of pickleball coaches is you came from a background of coaching, and when you're coaching tennis, so you have to know how to coach, and then obviously you're incredible at pickleball, so you know how to coach pickleball. But you just can't all of a sudden become a coach. Like people just think I'm just going to coach. I like playing pickleball. I'm going to be a coach.
Right.
I mean, there's skills that you have to have as a coach.
Everybody thinks they can coach pickleball. Why? It's because it's way too easy to play.
Isn't
that so true? I mean, so many of my tennis players back in the day would try to throw their partner a little comment or try to coach them a little bit. But in pickleball, I mean, it's kind of an open book, and there's a lot of tactics, and it seems like most people feel like they understand those tactics when they probably don't. But it's easy to play, and so I think with that just gives them the alleyway of thinking they can coach, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had people in my camp, and I do the group discussion. We have a group of 32 people. I do the group discussion and then send everybody out for their drills and their game. I'll have people like teaching as they're doing drills after they just heard my group discussion, but they come to the camp and they're, trying to teach the campers in my camp. And I'm like, well, hey, did you pay $5.99 to hear it from me, or did you pay $5.99 to come coach the camp? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like it just gives people license to want to coach because it's easy to play,
Yeah, the same thing happens in golf. People help their friends, and I always tell them, though, you have to consider the source of that information.
Consider the source, right?
Yeah, consider the source of that information. You're just getting lessons from somebody that can't do it either.
Right. Okay, so give us the scoop on Tom Dundon. I hear that he's a buddy of yours. He obviously just purchased the largest database in pickleball, purchased the largest retail store, and purchased the main PPA tour. So obviously purchased Pickleball Central, pickleballtournaments.com, which has the largest database. I don't know what that database is, but it's freaking massive. And he's sitting pretty right now. But I guess, what do you think about all that?
Oh, I love it because I love Tom. And, he's a good friend of mine. He is a doer. He is a aggressive guy in terms of, he wants and has a vision for making pickleball like way bigger than it is right now. He loves the game. I play with him down at El Dorado in Cabo San Lucas.
Yep.
And he's a great player. I mean, I'm not great Tyson McGuffin great, but he's, you know, I mean, he's a 5-0 player,
Okay.
and he's a strong player. Loves pickleball, and just he's just so into the sport, and you know, and obviously he's a billionaire too, so that doesn't hurt, you know. So he's got the wherewithal to, but more importantly, I think he has a vision of what pickleball can become, you know, at a pro level, just at a grassroots level. And I think it's exciting for the game. When I heard that he, you know, was purchasing, I mean, I immediately texted him and I said, I can't wait to see what you're gonna do, because I know he's got an idea to, you know, he's got many ideas and he'll implement them. I mean, he will.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting. I am going to be along for the 3-year ride, if you know what I mean. So
great.
Yeah, no, I'm very pleased. I think he's going to put some serious capital behind it, which is just going to accelerate everything. It's going to help pros be more professional on social media. He's going to help bring in bigger TV deals, big brand deals, bring more awareness to the sport, which is all benefiting pickleball. So super cool. Super cool.
Yeah, it's really good. It's going to be great for the game, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, hey, Hank, can you tell me the story about, or actually, do you want to talk about the Charles story? That's pretty f***ing funny. I mean, you don't.
Which one that?
Well, huh?
Which one's that?
Well, I mean, it could be any good Charles story, but the one in particular, when you met your wife, you guys, you know, met at like a nightclub. You told him not to drive. You backed up. Do you mind telling that?
Yeah,
is that okay?
That was probably well, that's my best story. Actually, Charles Barkley was on my show, the Haney Project, on the Golf Channel, and you know, it was phenomenal. You know, and a lot of people. My show was on for like 6 years, and everybody says, you know, I love your show with Charles Barkley. Like, I should have just done 1 year, because that's all anybody remembers. You know, I mean, I had Ray Romano on and Adam Levine, and you know, I mean, Michael Phelps. I mean, I had like incredible guests. But Charles Barkley is the best. He's one of my favorite people in the whole world. He's one of the most charitable people in the whole world. He's one of the funniest people. He's just an incredible guy. He really is. And not a great golfer, although he's getting better.
I've seen some of the content.
Yeah, it's a little rough, but he's getting better. He's getting better. And I'll tell you what he is. He's great for the game of golf. And you know, it's like when, you know, we've talked, like when there's all the celebrities that are playing pickleball are great for the game of pickleball, right. And Charles is great for the game of golf. So we were filming one day in Scottsdale. We went out to dinner that night, and Charles insisted on driving, but actually there was this you know, lady that was working for a driving service, and Charles knew her, and she had offered to drive us, but Charles says, no, I want to drive myself. So she ended up driving my agent and I that night when we went out to dinner, and then we went out to, you know, a couple bars. And anyway, like, you know, about 8 months later, I married her. So that was my wife, Suzanne. And so Charles introduced me to my wife, which he reminds me of all the time, you know, and I'm forever indebted to him for that. You know, and he never lets me forget it. But so that night didn't end good, because there was a night that Charles, like, they said Charles just left. And I said, and we're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And they said, well, he just ran over all the cones backing out of the parking space there, and he got arrested for drunk driving.
Charles!
He got arrested about 15 feet from where he first pulled out. He didn't make it very far. But anyway, it wasn't a good night for him, but it was a great night for me.
That's such a cool story.
I met my wife, you know?
That's such a neat story. Okay, so let's see here. Kev, was that about 30, 45 minutes?
We're at 37.
37, okay. Let's see. Hank, is there anything else you want to chat about, brother?
Whatever you want.
Yeah, if you don't mind. So can you give me your coolest golf story? Coolest golf story.
Well, I mean,
I'm
I
sure you've had
coached touring
plenty.
pro. I coached touring pros for 35 years. So, and I've been, coaching for 45 years. But, the first lesson I ever had was with Mark O'Meara, who was, a young touring pro. He was 124th on the money list on the PGA Tour, and he had been the rookie of the year before. And I met him at Pinehurst Hotel and Country Club. He asked a friend of mine if he would watch him hit some balls because he just missed a cut in this tournament. And my friend went and got me, and he said, "Hey, there's this guy in the range. Wants you to watch him." I go out there, and it's Mark O'Meara. Mark was a big name because he'd won the U.S. Amateur the year before, and he was Rookie of the Year, but he was really struggling. And Mark asked me to watch him, and I told him, I said, "Well, let's go in and let's sit down, and we'll have a Coke, and I'll talk about what I think you need to do." Okay, and he said. Hank, I don't have time for that. He said, if you don't start helping me right now, I'm not gonna be on the tour next year. And I said, no, let's sit down and talk. But anyway, to make a long story short, I mean, I started working with him, and 2 years later, he finished second on the money list on the PGA Tour. And all of a sudden, people, thought, Hank Haney might know something. And
Cool.
everything that's happened to me in golf, Tyson, is because of that one moment. There's one moment in time, one person you meet, one thing that happens to you, one special, something. And that was it for me, meeting Mark O'Meara. And then, I went on to teach 200 touring pros, and I, worked with Tiger Woods for 6 years. Obviously, during that was incredible during the most prolific time in his career.
Right.
But none of that happens if I don't have that one meeting with Mark O'Meara. So. And Mark always, I told Mark all the time, I said, Mark, you're a great player. And he said, Hank, I'm not a great player. He said, I'm a good player. He said, Jack Nicklaus is a great player. Tiger Woods is a great player. I said, I'm not a great player. I said, you're a great player. And then like 3 years ago, he got inducted in the World Golf Hall of Fame. And I texted him, I said, Mark, they don't have any good players in the Hall of Fame. So
That's cool.
But that's my story, because if it wasn't for Mark, and I've had so many great stories, from golf and great moments and things I've enjoyed. But if I don't meet Mark O'Meara, nothing that's happened to me in my career would have ever happened. And you got, I knew I had the ability. I knew I could help somebody, but you still have to have that chance too.
Yeah, for sure. Tell me this: how did you get in your golfer's mindset and basically bring out their best? Because I mean, something that I have been trying to focus on, recently with age and stuff like that. Obviously, taking care of my body, but more importantly, like being able to sustain a level that's high and keep that level high all day long. Right? I mean, there's so many top 15, top 20 pro players that are very talented, but they can only sustain a level for so long, right? What makes and breaks, what puts the best in a different category is being able to sustain it all day long and being able to bring the goods at the right time. But I guess just trusting where you're at, not second guessing yourself. What did you do with your golfers to force them to kind of bring out their best self, under pressure?
Yeah, well, I mean, the number one thing is you have to have an attitude that you're either getting better or you're getting worse. I mean, there's no such thing as staying the same. And if you're staying the same, then somebody's catching you. So you're either improving or you're not. You're getting better, or you're getting worse. So you have to look at that every day like that. Now, as you get older, as a golfer, as a pickleball player, it doesn't matter. As an athlete, as you get older, I mean, your physical skills are not going to be, they're not going to be advancing
Right.
in terms of your athletic ability. I mean, you're not going to be quicker at 40 than you were at 30. It just doesn't work like that. But you also have the experience factor that you got to put in there. So you should be a lot smarter at, every year that you play, you should be gaining that. So that's one of the things, you keep improving, you keep working on your technique, you become better at that, but you just have an overall attitude that you're either getting better or you're getting worse. And that was the attitude that I always had. That's the attitude that Tiger Woods had. people would always say, why does he always change his game? Because he's always trying to get better. He's always trying to improve. And, he would win a tournament. And the first message I get the next morning, because I was always about having a plan. And the first message I get the next morning is, what's our plan going forward? He'd always, the first thing you want to know after he won is, what do I need to work on to get better? Yeah. And if you do that, then you kind of stave off Father Time, because Father Time, it's like Charles Barkley says, Father Time is undefeated. But you can keep pushing them off a little bit if you keep getting smarter and you always have the attitude that you're trying to get better.
I like it. Okay, well, Hank, I can't tell you how cool this was, man. I truly appreciate you coming on. I see you as a friend, and look forward to seeing you here soon. I don't know when that's going to be. Are you going to be playing PPA?
Desert Ridge.
Desert Ridge, baby. Yeah. Coming up.
I'll be playing, but I'll be in the gallery. I'll be watching you. So and cheering for you. I always cheer for you. You're a great guy. You're great for the game of pickleball too, and that's that's a special thing, Tyson. So keep that up, bud.
Thanks, Hank. This is the McGuffin Pickleball Show. My name is Tyson McGuffin. Hank, I appreciate you coming on, brother.
All the best.
Thank you.